If I could just drop this into your spirit very quickly about favor. Favor are blessings tied up with a bow on it, culminated in grace and mercy, that which we don't deserve. And favor is that thing that mercy holds justice back against, so that we can get not only what God said we're supposed to have from blessings, but that the greater blessing comes with favor. And you know, favor is transferable. He gives it to the priest, the preacher. And I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you right now. Those that believe favor is transferable, let me give it to you right now. Let me just throw it out to you right now. Not just his blessing, but let me just give you his favor by his grace and his word according to the authority in my right hand. I now declare it transferred from me to you. Favor is transferable. Amen. So you got it now. With that, Paul starts out saying one thing until the Lord chimes in and says, my grace is sufficient. My strength is made perfect in weakness. And then the translation of that verse is stated in 10. It says, and therefore I take pleasure in all these negative things. In other words, Paul endures or undergoes a transformation. You all see that? See, in other words, what I'm saying to you is that when we pray, we get the answer before the prayer's over with. Paul is praying right here. And it wasn't the answer that he wanted to hear, that he desired to hear. What he wanted to hear is that, Paul, I got your back. It's already handled. It's been removed. Now go and do your thing. That's what he wanted to hear. But what he heard was that my grace is. I know some of y'all are going through a terrible time financially, but I can tell you about somebody that can give you something greater than money. See, money can't solve every issue, but his grace will walk you through. His grace will carry you through when you need to be carried. Money can't pick you up. So somebody here don't know about that grace, but I'm going to tell you about it shortly. His grace is sufficient. That's why I say it's more than enough. My grace that I gift unto you for this situation. I know you got marital problems. How can you not have money problems and not have marital problems? Did you not know that was the #1 cause of divorce amongst Christians? Was money. And the lack thereof, that comes from two folk in the same household, not working together on the same thing. Brothers, very quickly, your wife is not the enemy. She never has been the enemy. She is your partner, your greatest support. That's the reason why it says help me meet my house obligations and responsibility. That's why God gave you a helpmeet, not a helpmate. And she will support you in everything. Stop treating her like the enemy. That's what the enemy wants, you and her at odds, going through that enmity that God spoke of in the garden because of the curse. Come from that. Don't fight with your spouse. The fight is on the outside. This is not a warfare of flesh and blood. It's on the outside. And so with that, Paul undergoes this transformation process. Look at what happens. And what happens is his way of thinking, the way he looked at the situation. That's just like us. Because see, we have a tendency to, again, to make the problem, the trouble, larger than our God. And what he can ever supply to us, we can't even see it, because our problem has now outgrown the availability, the power, the authority of God.
Yes, sir.
And so he says, wait a minute. What you just spoke was a rhema word. And that went directly to my spirit. So he says, y'all ever said, to yourself? Paul here says, therefore I'm going to take great joy. That's pleasure. Oh, since you told me that your grace is all that I need to endure what is upon me, it is that your grace is all I need and is more than enough for my necessities, for the persecution that I'm undergoing right now, for the humiliation that I've experienced in the past and how I'm being humiliated. Now, you're telling me that your grace is sufficient. So guess what? This is what Paul is saying. Guess what? I'm going to take great pleasure and great joy. And what I'm going to do now when I get up from this prayer is that I'm going to walk out of this place and I'm going to say, bring it on, because I got something. This is what he's saying here. When he looks at it, the Spirit of God ministers to him and allows him to become transformed in the middle of his statement of prayer. See, what he says is this: and God will not forsake me. God will not forget about me, since his grace is sufficient. And he says what it is that it's going to rest on me. Like a tabernacle, like a tent, like a temple, it's going to rest on me. Like a house. That's what grace does for us. First of all, we should expect God's graces when we have trouble or problems, challenges, or hardships in this life. We should look for his grace to cover us and drape us like a tent, like a house. And what it does while we're in the middle of the tent, while we're in the middle of the house, is that all that we need is on the inside of that tabernacle. Our strength, our power, our necessities, what we need is on the inside of that grace that has now engulfed us and protects us. Oh, somebody gonna get it in a minute. So Paul said, I'm gonna be happy about whatever happens to me, because I know as soon as it comes, I got his favor, and I'm gonna take great joy in accepting whatever comes my way, because it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to him. If it's persecution, if it's pain, if it's injustice, if it's sickness, if it's infirmities, if it's affliction, it's not mine, it is the Lord. How many of you know and believe what the young Hebrew songwriter wrote? The battle is not yours, it was Elihu. The battle is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. The sickness is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. The finance is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. The persecution is not yours, it belongs to the Lord. Paul was now transformed. Started out complaining, but then he winds up praising. He said, I got to give praise to the one who gives me grace. I got to give the right praise and honor and glory to the one with the ability to keep me. Oh, back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, that used to be Superman, because Superman could take care of everything that befell anybody. Matter of fact, they gave him a nickname, the Man of But I got a nickname for my Superman today. And my nickname for my Superman is that he is my everything. I don't know what Jesus is to you,